Everyone expects you to have all the answers, but who's asking you how you're doing? Who's helping you think through your challenges? Engineer Your Success Insiders is my private podcast designed specifically for you. It's like having a coach in your corner focused on helping you win at work and at home. One story, one insight, one action that you can take, all wrapped up into real coaching insights that you can use. Join at engineeryoursuccessnow.com/insiders.
Success isn't just about what you achieve. It's about living a life that reflects your values and priorities. Welcome to Engineer Your Success, the podcast that helps you lead with intention and live fulfilled.
Welcome to the Engineer Your Success podcast. My name is Dr. James Bryant, your host for the show. I have a question for you. What if engineering principles could help you not just build bridges, but build better relationships, even a better marriage? We're here with Gabriela. She is trained as a chemical engineer, but turned relationships coach, keynote speaker, and host of the Life Engineering podcast. After years of being an engineer, she made the bold pivot into helping other high achievers strengthen the two most critical areas of their adult life: career and relationships. So in today's episode, Gabriela shares how you can engineer a legendary marriage by applying structure, intention, and emotional return on investment to your relationships. This episode is not just about winning at work. This is also about winning at home and winning in your life. Gabriela, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dr. James. I'm excited to be here.
So here's my first question. Why do you believe that so many professionals settle in their relationships, but they don't have any problem striving for what they want in their careers?
So grateful you're asking that question, because that's actually the question that I was asking myself when I was coaching these talented leaders on how to thrive in their career. But the moment the conversation would shift to relationships, family life, I could see how their voices shifted. There was like their voice dimmed. There was almost like a whisper of shame or regret. I am killing it at work, but at home, that's a different story. I actually asked myself that question that you're asking me. Why is it that these people, the very people that deserve to thrive both in relationships and career, seems to feel very certain, as certain as they feel at work, that's how uncertain they feel at home. I came up with two answers. One, we have a hidden unconscious limit, right? And Drake, in his beautiful book, The Big Leap, talks about that upper limit that we have of how much positivity we can have. It's like a thermostat set for success, created mostly in childhood. As soon as life gets too good, there's an internal break that says pause. And then I go home and I started a fight with my spouse for no reason. So it's not, we don't want to have it all. We don't want to have a thriving relationship and a successful career. It's just that our subconscious mind doesn't believe it's possible. One reason, we self-sabotage without knowing or disconnect from our spouse. We settle for good enough. I'm killing it at work. Here, good enough is okay. Because greatness in both areas of our lives feels unfamiliar. I mean, think about how many people do you know who experience greatness at work, in their professional endeavors, as well as in their family life. The second reason, we were never taught how to win at home. No one modeled it to us. No one showed to some of us. I mean, if you got lucky and had a great example at home, fantastic. But not everybody did. And for some people, nobody showed them that relationships can be engineered just like careers. We have heard the concept of career development. When you're young, you're being asked in kindergarten, what do you want to do when you grow up? Nobody asks about, do you want to get married? What kind of marriage? What kind of home do you want to build? So no one shows us that relationships can be engineered, that love isn't luck. Love is not a strategy, it's not luck. It's actually a practice. And just like anything you ever master, relationships as well requires intention, structure, repetition, hence an engineering mindset.
We grow up understanding we have to work for the career we want. But we have this fantasy when it comes to relationships and marriage that we're going to meet a person, we're going to hit it off, and everything is going to be great. Because here's the reality. Even if you hit it off and it's a great spark, work is required to maintain a thriving marriage.
If you look at romantic movies, they all end on the wedding day. It seems like the wedding day equates to happily ever after. Nobody shows what it actually takes to start building a life together. So we think that the moment we hit it, we have the right person, that's it. It's all it takes. Marriage is not a status, it's a process. And anything worth creating, it has to be engineered. You have to commit, you have to work for it, because you have to embody what it is to no longer be just a man and a woman, and now become husband and wife.
Leadership comes with high expectations, too many responsibilities, too little time, and the constant pressure to keep up. If you're feeling stretched thin, you're not alone. At Engineer Your Success, we help leaders take back control so that they can lead with confidence, delegate effectively, and stop running on empty. You don't have to choose between success and sanity. Let's build a leadership plan that works for you. Visit engineeryoursuccessnow.com today, because thriving isn't just for others, it's for you. Can you walk us through the 4 pillars of a legendary marriage?
There are 4 pillars that we want to invest and commit to. And these 4 pillars together create the identity of marriage. The first pillar is the me. And the me means I take responsibility for my own happiness. I don't outsource my fulfillment, my happiness, my well-being, my inner peace to my spouse. I am accountable for my baggage that I bring into this marriage, for my own personal fulfillment, and for the work that I need to do. The second pillar is the you being my partner. I want to discover you, be your friend, confidant, biggest fan and supporter. Respect you, understand you, get to know you deeper and deeper. Love is the desire to know someone. Many times people think, okay, that's it. I know everything that there is to know about this person. That process of learning about your partner never ends. If you know the best way to love them and support them, then you're being a true friend to your partner. The third pillar is the hour. The first 2 pillars are about each individual, you and your partner. The third and fourth pillar are about the couple. So the third one is the hour. And hour is the most practical pillar. It's how do we engineer a life together? The idea is to view your relationship as a small business with 2 co-founders or 2 shareholders. Therefore, decisions are made together. And you work with the 3 C's: communication, coordination, collaboration. Here is the same. Decisions are made together. We have operational rituals to make sure that this business of creating fulfillment for you, for me, for our children runs smoothly, like a very well-oiled machine. The last pillar is the most spiritual and romantic pillar, is the you and me without anything in between. That's pure intimacy, physical, emotional, spiritual intimacy. The sum of two parts is way bigger than 1+1. It's that fusion that creates a power couple effect.
So it's me, you, our, and us. Oh, that's beautiful. What was the motivation behind you writing the book?
At that time, I was coaching couples and teaching couples how to become a power couple. So I was working with couples who didn't want to settle for just fine and wanted to create an epic relationship, wanted to thrive, to feel like they're winning it at home as well, and leave that legacy for your family. And I realized that whatever I thought it was obvious, it wasn't. The more I looked for this type of framework, I saw similar things, but not exactly this framework. And that's when I realized I had a book. Even if no one read the book, I had to write it. I feel grateful. I have great examples. Not only my parents, my grandparents. I stand on the shoulders of my family. I had to write this book as a legacy.
So, what made the shift from chemical engineer to author, coach, podcaster? What was the reasoning behind the shift?
I was an engineer and I was trained to analyze systems, solve problems, optimize processes. But I was always fascinated with the human potential. How we grow, how we adapt, how we build meaningful relationships. In fact, quick story is that when I worked for Intel, I was most in my annual review praised for my training abilities, my passion for sharing knowledge. So as I navigated my own marriage and career, I realized that I was happily married, I had a family, but I was not fulfilled. There was an inner calling. That's the midlife crisis, if you want to call it that way. When you realize you're not where you need to be. When you realize that, yes, you have it all, but there is a void inside because I am not using my genius. So that's when I started the quest to, okay, if I don't do it, first of all, I felt like if I don't do engineering, there's nothing else I know how to. Or if I don't do science per se, because since I was very young, every extracurriculum activity I did was around sciences. I realized I wanted to do is become a coach. Initially, I started coaching people for life coaching and career, but like I shared, I saw the need for relationship coaching and pivoted into relationships and marriage coaching.
It's a very similar trajectory for me. So after 20 plus years of being a civil engineer, I began to feel disconnected, discontented at work. I was still performing, still doing everything that they wanted me to do well, but I knew that I wanted more. And knowing that I wanted more, which is one of the reasons why I launched the Engineer Your Success podcast and then the company Engineer Your Success, but because that helped to provide the piece that was missing for me.
Creating a life of no regret means that you are constantly getting a feedback loop. How are you doing? And where do you need to course correct to align more so you can create more fulfillment, hence more happiness? One of my favorite words is pilot. I think that we should all learn to pilot, to test in our lives.
Yes. Testing things out, testing concepts is part of the key to me to being able to thrive both at work and at home.
And it's not easy for an engineer because, yes, we are used to measuring and course correcting. On the other hand, engineers are so action oriented. But before I took action, which was to enroll in a coaching certification and start building, I had to find the answers. And that for an engineer is not always easy. To tune in, to listen to what your soul is here to do and what is the way you're here to.
What's the biggest challenge you had to overcome when making that shift?
There were several. One was the fear of judgment. I'm not sure how much people judge more than I was afraid of the judgment. The judgment of what is she doing? I have built an identity around being geeky per se. So let go of my old identity that this is how I am and this is It was a way for me also to feel worthy. So the fear of judgment, that I have gone mad and just threw that career away. That was one. The fear of feeling unworthy when I'm not making money right away, because doing a career transition was taking a hit in my income, but I knew it was going down for the purpose of going up. So in the beginning, it was a hit. Working for Intel, you're very comfortable financially. So that was also, who am I if I'm not bringing that salary? Will people still love me? I know. After done all this personal work, feels like, anyway, we all been there, but these are valid fears to have.
They're valid fears and real. It's not that people will judge you. You're afraid that people will judge you. It's not that people won't trust or like your decisions. It's more so that you're afraid that they're not going to like your decisions.
At the same time, you have to be able to take action despite those fears or work on those fears. And this is the biggest opportunity for self-work, personal work, and finding who you are out these coping mechanisms of having to achieve or make money to feel worthy.
When you're looking through the lens of the power couples you're working with, what's some of the recurring challenges you come across in your practice?
The biggest challenge is disconnection and the lack of commitment to the rituals that build power couple. And commitment is not fueled by feelings, it's fueled by actions. But people say, I'm not feeling it. Well, to do the right thing, you don't need to feel it. You don't feel it to go to work. You go to work regardless. Some days you do, some days you don't, and you still show up. The mindset should be mind over heart. I don't need to feel it to commit. I first commit and then the feelings follow. How do I commit? Through the practice of rituals. And I find that we fall behind when it comes to these rituals because we're very busy. When I mean by rituals, I mean operational rituals, those rituals in the hour pillar, which is making sure that you coordinate, you are in the same page, you are supporting each other, you know what's going on. And the other one is the emotional connection rituals.
If someone's listening to this episode and they're like, you know what, I'm ready to grab my spouse, I'm going to forward this episode to them because we want to become a power couple, what's the best way for them to contact you?
They can find me on GabrielaEmbon.com and download the prologue of my book, BecomingAPowerCouple.net.
BecomingAPowerCouple.net is where they can get the forward to the book, and we'll also include a link to that and to your website and to your LinkedIn profile in the show notes. But before we wrap up, a few questions. If there's one thing that you wanted a listener to take away from this episode, what would it be?
I want you, the listener, to know it's possible to have an epic, thriving, happy relationship and a successful career at the same time. Believe it's possible. Thriving at work and love are not mutually exclusive. With the right practice, with the right commitment, with the right framework, you can thrive at both.
Now you've been the interviewee and I've been the interviewer, so I'm going to switch things around. What question do you have for me?
I have a question for you. When you decided you wanted to do a career change, how did you go about it with your spouse?
Oh, that's a great question. So for me, My last day working full time for the Transportation Research Board was November 1st, 2022. A few years before then, I started feeling a little disconnected. I'm not sure what I want to do. I started talking to my wife about that 2 years before I left. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew it was important to communicate to her what I was feeling and thinking all along the way. So when it came, as we've moved closer to that time, it was just finally like, honey, I think I want to make this change. I won't make it if you're totally against it because we're in this together, but I do want to make this change. So I kept just being present, communicating that over and over again, just in general, till one day out of the blue, my wife says, "When are you going to leave? Just go ahead and leave." So that's when I put in my letter of resignation.
I love that story because you were operating as a power couple. You were communicating. Right? Eventually, you coordinated and you collaborated. It was not a surprise. Imagine if you come to her one day and say, "Hey, by the way, I quit because I want to do a career change." She would feel like, "What about me?" You took her along this journey with you, which is important. That's emotional intimacy. It allows you to be true friends and support each other and be each other's fans. I mean, when one partner resists or disagrees with the other one, it's because they don't understand. You made sure she understood what you were going through. You stay connected, and that's brilliant. Most people, especially men, when they're struggling, disconnect. It's natural to stay within your bubble and not share what's going on. But you didn't.
For me, it's important. When I work with clients, I tell them to communicate to their spouse what they're thinking and doing, invite them into the journey, give them permission to come along so they feel a part of it and you can make decisions together. It may not always work out the way that mine did. My wife could have been like, "No, I don't want you to do that." Then I would have had to find a different way, right? That's just point. I would have had to find a different way. But I think it is important to try to find those ways where you can communicate and collaborate to make decisions together. Gabriela, I appreciate your time and coming to share on the show. Is there anything else you would like to share with our audience?
Thank you for having me. You don't have to wait for retirement to up-level your relationship. Start now.
Yeah, start now. I'm going to end this episode like I end every episode. Many people know what to do. Fewer people know how to do it. And there's a select group of people that follow through and do it. Gabriela, thank you for being part of that select few, making an impact on lives, helping people thrive at work as well as at home. Thank you.